Sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Co-star of Murder, She Wrote, Ron Mason. Talk show hostess, Mother Loud. Actor and raconteur, Orson Bean. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. The host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Burton. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And good morning. Good morning, panel. My, oh, my. Don't we all just look spiffy today? So let's get to the monkeys. Our first story represented by these three gentlemen, each of whom claims to be Don McLeod. I, Don McLeod, love to make a monkey of myself. You see, that's how I make my living. Do you remember this commercial where the gorilla smashes a suitcase against the ground? That's me. How about the movie Trading Places, or The Man with Two Brains? Again, I was the man inside the gorilla suit. I'm a pantomimist, and my teacher was the one and only Marcel Marceau. I've spent years studying the marvelous way that jungle animals move, especially the gorilla. But being an ape isn't always easy. While making the movie Naked Gun 2½, I almost died from heat prostration. It's also hard to answer when people ask, what do you do for a living? Signed, Don McLeod. Notice a family resemblance? We'll find out more about this monkey business right after this. Well, all three of these gentlemen claim to be Don McLeod, who is a professional gorilla. Kitty, we'll start the questioning with you.
Number one, do you have children?
No, I don't.
Number two, where did you study with Marceau?
In California here for 8 weeks.
Was he here? Number three, what happened when how did you signal that you were about to die of heat prostration?
I passed out on the set, and my eyes rolled back in my head, and...
We once had a gorilla. Oh, I was going to tell my story.
We once had a gorilla. To use some of my time.
No.
Orson, go ahead.
Number two, can you do gorilla walking against the wind, or did you learn that from Marcel Marceau?
No, a small part of it from him, but I studied large animals extensively.
Number one, now, what luggage is it that you threw around in that commercial?
That was American Tourister.
All right. Number three, Naked Gun 2½. I can't wait to see that. What do you do as the gorilla in that?
There's a scene where Leslie Nielsen goes through a zoo wall in a tank, and I run after him.
Very good. What's...
Oh, Mother?
Number one, so you can really make a living at this. What if you weren't in the movies?
You could, you know, go to shopping malls and do a special event, Christmas gorilla, that kind of thing.
Number two, so what, you worked in Trading Places. What was it like to work with Eddie Murphy?
Fantastic. He's an excellent actor.
Did you get to work with Steve Martin? Do you do any scenes with him as well in The Man with Two Brains?
Yes, I did.
Number two.
Ron.
Number one, do you know who Janos Prohaska was?
I think he was a man who played gorillas in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Number two, Marcel Marceau's very famous character is called what?
Bip.
Number three, do you know who Antoine Ducreux was?
No, I sure don't.
And number two, do you know the lady who studied primates?
I can't recall.
Number one, they did a movie called Gorillas in the Mist. Do you know who that was about?
Diane Fossey, I think her name is.
Very good.
All right. Your time is up. You've got to vote, and you have to vote for the person you feel is the real Don McLeod, the man inside the monkey suit professionally. Is it number one? Is it number two? Or is it number three? Our team of challengers, of course, receives $500 for each incorrect vote with a minimum guarantee of $1,000. And if our panel is fooled completely, then the team will receive $3,000. Kitty, for whom did you vote?
Well, I had to vote for number one because he knew all those questions that Ron asked. Although number two kind of fooled me about Marcel Marceau. but I'd still voted for number 1.
I see. Orson.
I thought it was number 2 because he had the worst gorilla suit on. I forgot the real one would let the other guys. But I had to vote for number 1. It's Etienne de Croo, who was Marcel Marceau's. He did 2 gorillas walking against the wind.
Aha.
No other man has ever been able to do that.
Mother?
This is really crazy. I voted for number 3 because he looks the most comfortable in that goofy suit.
Mother, that's as good a reason as I've heard on this program in the past
I mean,
few
he's
months,
just sitting there
believe
like, hey, I do gorillas. I'm cool.
me. Yep, that's it. Ron?
Because number 1 knew all the answers, and because number 3 looked comfortable in the suit, I went for number 2 because he knew about Bip.
All right, let's review the voting. 2 votes for number 1, 1 for number 2, 1 only for number 3. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who really goes ape professionally. Will the real Don McLeod please stand up? Number 1, all righty. Orson and Kitty, our 2 veterans, were correct on that. Don, we'll get back to you in a second. Let's find out about our imposters. Number 2, who knew about Marcel Marceau's character?
My name is Frank O'Rourke. I own the Frank Touch. I restore vintage watches.
I see. Number 3?
Hi, my name is Mark Sears, and I work for a local construction company as a plumber.
Well, you did well on our program today. There were 2 incorrect votes at $500 apiece, and that means the team will receive $1,000. Now, let's get back to you, Don.
Thank you.
There is another subject we want to touch on right now, and you and I know the tremendous power of television. And Don McLeod, ladies and gentlemen, has been searching for his birth mother for how many years now, Don?
About 10 years.
Can you give a little bit of information that perhaps will help you locate her or enable some of our viewers to write in and assist?
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And she was born in, I was born in 1948 in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And my mother was from Grand Prairie. Her name was Ethel Walker, and she was a hairdresser. That's all I know. Don't know where she is or if she's still alive, but if anybody knows her and she's out there, I'd be forever grateful.
Well, from personal experience, I know how these things can have very happy endings. So good luck to you. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any information about the woman mentioned by Don here, just write to us to tell the truth, care of NBC, Burbank, California. We'll see that he gets the information. Thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. We'll be back with a revolutionary preschool teacher, right after this. Our next team of challengers.
Number 1, what is your name, please?
My name is Bev Boss.
Number 2.
My name is Bev Boss.
Number 3.
My name is Bev Boss.
In a few moments, we'll find out who the real Bev Boss is. Here's her story. I, Bev Boss, am a teacher with a revolutionary approach to early childhood education. In my classes, I do not teach the 3 R's. I believe children were not born to sit still and be quiet. They were born to run, to make noise, to play in the mud. Parents who accelerate the education of their children risk doing more harm than good. A child can't learn words until he has experienced those words. That's why I don't impose rules of behavior. I want my students to interrupt, to ask questions, to sing, to write their own stories, to make mud pies and blow bubbles. Left to explore and learn on their own, children learn to socialize and cooperate with each other, to develop their imagination, self-esteem, and confidence in their own abilities. Learning becomes fun, as described in my latest book, Together, We're Better. Signed, Bev Boss. We'll start the questioning with a father of 6, Ron Masak.
Oh, am I angry. I can't wait till Orson gets this because he had his own school. Number 1, what about the discipline problem?
Discipline comes from the word disciple. Children learn by example. We give good examples.
Number 2, if you just let them run haphazard around the classroom, when do they have time to learn each other's names, for example?
Well, I don't think kids just run haphazard. Children always have a direction of their own, and it's kids don't learn anything through their bottoms.
Number 3, if you don't teach the 3 R's, how do they write what they learn?
Well, they keep a journal, which they tell us what to write in. We read back, they look at what we've written, and they have to go at their own level. I think people are pushing children too hard nowadays.
Number 2, when they're...
Oh, good questions once again, Ron. Mother?
Number 3, are you concerned with the fact that these kids are telling you? It seems to me that they're telling you what to do as opposed to you telling them what to do.
We feel that experience is not just the best trainer, it's the only trainer of children.
Number 2, but these are, how old are these children?
2 years, 9 months to 5 and 6.
Number 2, these are very small children who need a great deal of direction. Are you concerned that later on in life they might not think, look, I can just go out here and just disrupt and interrupt anybody and everything because I'm being inquisitive?
No, I think kids fail because they don't develop a self. That's how they fail.
Number 1, then go to back up what number 2 just said, do you feel that it's important to teach these children self-esteem in the class?
I think self-esteem is about the number 1 thing that we can teach any children in class or out of class.
Number 2, how...
Orson, who had his own school.
Indeed I did. Number 3, what is Summerhill?
Summerhill was an experimental school for children.
Number 1, do the older kids sometimes teach the younger kids?
Yes, we don't separate by age.
Yeah. Number 2, do the kids wear white gloves and stand up when the teacher comes in the room?
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah, sure.
Kitty?
Well, I don't understand. Number 2, how can you expect a child to experience the words you're trying to teach him? Children have to learn words they can't experience.
Some words, yeah, but young children, the way they learn is kinesthetically by attaching words to experiences. There are some words they would learn without that, but generally
Number 1, George Bernard Shaw said drilling is what's needed. You don't teach them anything they have to do.
Definitely not.
Nothing.
No, strictly socialization and learning by doing, hands-on, concrete.
Number 3, we used to have to learn poems to recite at night to our parents. It was sort of charming. You don't do that.
If they want to learn a poem, we have them, encourage them to make up their own poems.
Oh, that's
Be creative.
nice.
Oh, if only the Jesuits had heard of this school years and years ago when I needed them. All right, panel, time for you to cast your ballots for the woman you feel is the revolutionary teacher. Is it number 1? Is it number 2? Or is it number 3? Ron, for whom did you vote?
Well, this staff, I can say this now because it's last. This is the best trained staff in the world because 2 of those people are lying to me. And I think all 3 of them are teachers. But based on the fact that she knew Summerhill, I went with number 3.
Well, I agree with you. All 3 of our challengers were very, very convincing. Yes. Mother?
You know, looking at these 3 women, I just cannot believe, even if they taught school, that number 1 and number 2 will let a bunch of little bitty crumb snatchers run around their classroom. I think it's number 3 who's letting those kids run wild and have fun and be creative.
Yeah, those crumb snatchers are bad news.
You know, little kids.
Right,
children.
Orson.
The Rugrats in my school used to learn. They learned poems. Mary had a little lamb. The doctor fainted. I voted for number 1.
Kitty, for whom did you vote?
Well, I know that Orson School was based on the Summerhill system, and number 3 knew about it, and I believe that she's the one that but the other 2 look exactly like teachers.
All righty, let's review the votes. 1 vote for number 1, no votes for number 2, and I thought number 2 was very convincing in some of her responses, and 3 votes for number 3. So let's find out who the real champion of childhood shenanigans is. Will the real Bev Boss please stand up? It is number 2, and he stumped the panel.
I knew it. It was a dress.
Bev, we'll get back to you in a moment. Let's find out about our imposters, who were very good today. Number 1.
My name is Ardell Wazorek. I'm an oil painter and a grandmother.
Okay.
Thanks, Orson.
Some experience with children. Number 3, tell us about yourself.
My name is Sonara O'Donnell, and I train people in how to get new jobs.
Well, our staff trained you extremely well because the 3 of you managed to stump the panel, and that means that as a team you will receive $3,000. Now, Bev, is your method gaining in popularity in America now?
Well, I've given over 4,000 workshops. I sure hope so.
Yeah. Can you give us an example?
I know that I'm right. Yeah, sure I can. See, this bag's been full of water for about 4 hours. If you stick a pencil, let me get one that has a sharper point on it, all the way through, it doesn't leak. How many pencils can you stick in? I had a kid the other day who did 18 pencils in a bag, and it never leaked water.
A future serial killer.
This, This is what kids need to do, and it magnifies it. It's such a wonderful...
Well, it's fascinating, and because I've got the young one, I'll be talking to you after the program about what I can do for him. But thank you all for being with us today on To Tell the Truth. You guys were terrific. We'll be back to play one-on-one right after this. Time to play one-on-one, and Burton, who do you have for us today?
Alex, today we have from Sepulveda, California, Sarah McMullen.
Sarah McMullen. Lucky Sarah was selected. Sarah, you have a chance to win $500 in cash. Good luck to you. Let me introduce a gentleman who has two marvelous stories to tell. Folks, please welcome Mr. X. Sarah, Mr. X is going to tell us two stories, one of which happens to be the truth. You spot that true story and you'll win $500. Mr. X, what's your first story, please?
I am the man behind the scenes. I am the director of To Tell the Truth.
May or may not be the truth, however. So let's go to story number 2. Mr. X?
Frank Sinatra sings my song. I wrote New York, New York.
All right, Sarah, one question from each of our panelists on each subject. First of all, that he is the man behind the scenes, the director of this show. Kitty.
Mr. X, how long have I been on To Tell the Truth?
I'd rather not say.
Orson.
Well, first of all, I'd like to send my regards to the lovely Mrs. X. And I'd like to say, have you ever directed a real show?
I did Ukulele Ike.
Mother?
Number 2, are you related to Mr. Goodson?
Oh.
I mean,
I'm not,
Mr.
but
X.
I wish I were.
Oh. Ron.
Mr. X, without embarrassing me, who was your favorite panelist?
I can't answer that. I love all my panelists.
Good. A good diplomatic response. Now let's get to story number 2, that this gentleman, Mr. X, wrote New York, New York. Great song.
Mr. X, what other songs have you written?
I have written mostly jingles for commercials, but I have written several shows. I've written several shows, too.
Nice. Orson?
Mr. X, who had the biggest single hit record of I know many singers recorded, but who was your favorite recording artist that did it? I'll put it that way.
Well, it's certainly between Liza and Frank. I can't really pick between the two of them. They both are platinum records.
Mm-hmm. All right, Mother?
Mr. X, did you pick Frank Sinatra to sing it, or did he like the song and decided to sing it?
Frank liked the song. He saw the movie it was in, he loved it, and he decided to do it.
Ron?
What was the name of the movie with Liza where she introduced the song?
New York, New York.
Thank you, Mr.
Catchy
X.
title.
All right, Sarah, you've heard the cross-examination. Is Mr. X the director of this show, or did he write that hit song, New York, New York?
Well, I like the song, and I like this guy, so I'm going to say New York, New York.
All right, Mr. X, what is your true story?
To tell the truth, my name is Paul Alter, and I am the director of To Tell the Truth.
And that's bad news for Sarah. Sorry, Sarah. We've got a lovely gift for you. And wait a minute. Usually I say we want to thank Paul Alter for playing one-on-one, and you get $1,000, but I don't think that's in your contract. We'll resolve it during this commercial break, and we'll come back with Paul and the rest of the gang after this.
Out family friction on Family Feud next. Then catch Blockbusters and Password Plus on GSN.
This is our last show on To Tell the Truth, and we wanted to go out in style with a touch of class and with, as Cyrano de Bergerac would say, our panache intact. And rules are rules. We have a rule that says if you stump the person in the audience in the one-on-one segment, you get $1,000. Paul Alter gets $1,000, but he's going to give $500 to Sarah, who was playing one-on-one. And the other $500 goes to his favorite charity, the Music Center here in Los Angeles. So thank you, Paul. I want to say it was a great pleasure working with you as director on this program. I'm indebted to the man on my left, Mark Goodson. Every show he produces is class in itself. Thank you for having me here. And Kitty and Orson and Ron and Mother Love. And thank all of you. To Tell the Truth started in the mid-50s, ladies and gentlemen. It has had 4 reincarnations. I have a feeling it may be back in the near future. If it is, I hope I'm associated with it. So long, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Millions of people are watching, yet they feel so at home.
Oh, I think I'll have to take a pee.
What makes game show contestants throw out all common sense?
Pop another testicle in your mouth.
Find out. Watch Ben Stein host Game Show Moments Gone Bananas. The funniest moments in game show history. Saturday at 6 p.m. only on GSN.
Gentlemen, this bonded security agent has just placed a certified check for $25,000 in one of these 30 surprise packages. Tonight, someone may win any one of our fabulous prizes, or that grand prize of $25,000 on The New Treasure Hunt. From Hollywood, it's The New Treasure Hunt. And here's the host and star of our show, Jeff Edwards.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome to The New Treasure Hunt, the television program with more prizes and more cash than any other show in the world. Tonight, the combined total of cash, awards, and merchandise is over $200,000.